Just hit the music. Boom! What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the podcast, the MindBuzz. MindBuzz universe. So I was thinking about what we would call like the community, Amber. What we would call the community of people that support us, that people that tune in every week to hear all the artists and all the musicians that we talk to. And I came up with the MindBuzz universe. What do you think?
I don't know. Kind of sounds a little Avenger-like.
Yeah, we're all Avengers. We're all in our own right. We're all superheroes. Because the real heroes don't wear capes. They're podcasters.
I'm going to pass.
All right. Anyways.
Back to the drawing board.
Okay. All right. I thought I'd try that out at least. Well, welcome to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. This is the MindBuzz that gives you interesting stories of today's culture, insightful perceptions for living, thought-provoking, and cool commentary, inspiring moments to get you through the week and through life. Conversations with your favorite podcasters, entrepreneurs, artists, and people just like you. We got to remember that the MindBuzz is partnered with My Grito. My Grito Industries is a Latino-owned and a Latino and Chicano independent record label, art collective, and podcast network. Check out the My Grito Podcast Network roster: Emo Brown, Chicano Shuffle, West Coast Pop Block Podcast, Tragos Amargos. From comedy to radio personalities, My Grito Podcast Network has you covered for all your podcast needs. Add these other great podcasts to your weekly podcast lineup. The MindBuzz podcast is powered by MindBuzz Media. MindBuzz Media is an on-site and off-site podcast production. Have you ever thought about starting your own video and audio podcast? Check us out because we can help you out with that. So go to mindbuzz.org for more. Cool. And what else do we got, Amber, in our MindBuzz universe?
It just sounds like you're like MindBuzz University or something. I don't know why. I keep
that one's a good one too. We're all graduates
no.
of the MindBuzz. I'm your professor, Gil.
I'll pass again.
Well, I'm not going to pass you then.
We have our open mic.
Open mic, and that's going to be held at Horchateria in the city of Paramount, August 26th. Starts at 8 p.m. We have signups now, so if you are a poet, if you are a musician, if you are a comedian that just wants to come out and try your set on the audience, very supportive place to be in. So yeah, if you're trying out something new, or if you just want to go out and hang out with us for a few hours, come out to our Horchateria on Thursday, October 6th. Starts at
26th.
26th. Thank you.
Living in the past.
Why? What did I say?
October 6th.
Oh, I wish it was October 6th. That was a fun night. Chicano Shuffle's 6-year anniversary. So shout out to Fernie for giving me that discount on the t-shirt. Anyways, so we're going to do something new, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to be calling it My Grito Weekly. We should learn. We need to learn how to do a grito. Amber's been working.
Just bring my mom every time.
Oscar. Amber's been she's been working out her grito, so we won't have this pre-recorded. Next time we're going to do a grito, Amber's going to take care of that. Anyways, so during this My Grito Weekly, the spooky Friday the 13th edition. Jesus Christ, evil laugh. Parentheses.
Why are you reading the parentheses?
We have some exciting news, starting with the new full album release from La Rosa Noir titled Areano.
Oh my
Arellano.
God.
Give me a break.
Arellano.
Listen to this album via all listening platforms such as Spotify, and make sure you give them a follow on Instagram. Also, My Grito founding artist 3LH will be performing a private show hosted by Hazy LA tonight. You want to attend? Slide into 3LH's DMs and hit them up. They will probably say chales to you since it is a private event, but fuck it. Really, dude?
You should have read this before you read it.
No, this is what happens. DM them anyways and tell them that Big Bad Gil sent you. Also, make sure to pick up 3LH's album on vinyl along with several other artists from My Grito Familia by visiting their website at mygrito.net. All right. You obviously don't have to read this word for word, but I wanted to give you something fun to try if you want. Kissy heart face. Oh, that was nice. Yeah, so go ahead and go follow My Grito and 3LH and La Rosa Noir. I'm excited. I can't wait to hear that. And then also, I just posted on my personal, El Catrin from Bad Hombres just posted a new song called El Catrin, and this shit slaps, bro. So if you like our intro and outro music, that is performed and written by Bad Hombres. They have a new song coming out, or it's already out, so go check it out. We'll put the link down in the show description for Bad Hombres. How was that?
That was all right.
It was cool, right? All right. All right. Eddie's giving me the thumbs up. Eddie's giving me the thumbs up.
6 out of 10.
6 out of 10? That's not bad for my first try. All right, well, now we got that out of the way. Let's introduce our guest for this evening.
Yeah.
That's right. He's been on the show before. It's been over a year since he's done the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. He's a graphic artist. He's a podcaster. His podcast is called Social Primate Podcast. It's an unconventional podcast on cultural self-reflection and the human experience as told by a primate. Eddie, what's up, man? Thanks for being here.
What's up, everybody? Thank you, Gil, for having me again. It's
of course,
a blast
dude.
Seeing you do your thing, man.
Thanks, man. You too. So I'm so glad that you're back and doing your grind and doing your thing. I'm excited, dude.
Yeah,
excited.
Man.
You just hit your 100th episode a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, right now I'm at 102, but yeah, the 100th one was recently 2 weeks ago with Chencha Berrinches. That was a good one. It was a fun one.
Awesome, dude. And what is also coming up, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, you had a Que Me Cuentas podcast on that's going to be coming out pretty soon, right?
Yeah, that was we just recorded on Tuesday, so just a few days ago. It should be coming out in the next week or two, so that'll be episode 103, 104, so just stay tuned for that. But fun conversation, man.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited to hear that because I met Jaime through, how did we meet him? We met him at a
Chicano Hollywood event.
Hollywood event, and our homework for the day was to kind of network throughout that event, and that's how we met Jaime. We met Eric also in during that event, and it was so cool. Like we connected. They said that they had a podcast, that they do live shows. Checked it out. Offered them the space for Chateria. They came out and did it. And when was that? Do you remember? Like a few weeks ago, right? Sometime last month. You came out and checked it out, dude. I appreciate the support, always, dude.
Yeah, no, I had to stop by. I've been telling you for a minute that I've been meaning to come to one of the events just to, for sure, just show support. Because it's not easy, just trying to bring people together to come, listen to people's stories or just events in general, right? So when I saw that, I was like, I've been meaning to talk to Jaime too. He came up to me on the Sela Arts Fest like in summer, August or something.
Yeah.
And he showed up too, and he was like,
"Oh, really?"
Yeah. He's like, "What are you doing?"
Oh,
and I was like, "Oh, I do a podcast." And he's like, "What?" And since then, we kind of just been talking here and there, and same thing. It's just about the networking, and out of that event, we managed to make a connection. and now there's an episode coming.
Awesome. And then you also did like you were doing these like small little interview series, right?
Yeah.
Like throughout that whole event.
Through the event, yeah, I was going up to some of the vendors, the musicians. That's kind of how I got linked up with Chencha. I mean, for the people who know of them, you know, they're just a kind of pretty big ska band in the SoCal scene back in the 2000s. They're still kind of big now, but 2000s was like basically their moment. And it's just been an impact. And I found out that they were from Southgate, which is where I'm basically from. So I was like, what? And, you know, so, you know, that event itself, again, it managed to create a bunch of other connections just by putting yourself out there, you know?
Yeah, and then also you had the homies from the My Grito label, the Paranoias, and Profesor Galactico.
Yeah, there was like a mini interview. So those were fun because, I mean, I had to keep it, you know, Instagram only lets you do like a 3-minute video sometimes. So I was like, okay, I got to make this conversation that we had like 5-10 minutes and just pick what's good to, you know, condense it. So it was fun though. You know, it was the first time that I was actually doing those type of interviews because I'm not a person to be like on camera. Mm-hmm. So I was like kind of nervous at some point, but after, you know, a couple of hours of doing it, it felt kind of like natural to just, you know, just ask questions.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially like when it's an event, it's so different from sitting like this, right? And when you have things going on in the back, like it's not really sound treated, like anything can happen during those 5 minutes, right?
Tell me about it. I mean, you guys just had one like 2-3 weeks ago at the what was it? Hello something?
Hello Stranger LA.
Hello Stranger, yeah. And you guys were basically doing a live podcast while everything was happening. And I definitely know what you're saying because it's like distractions happening. Like you hear the audio and you're like, fuck, is this going to work?
Yeah.
Like there was a couple of interviews that I had that day that I couldn't use after all because either I forgot to turn the mic on or the fucking music was too loud. And it's like, dude, I can't salvage these anymore. So
right.
I just have to kind of cut them, you know?
But the good thing about that, dude, is that we're able to, like when we do something, right? And we produce it, we publish it or whatever, we get to go back and think about like our experience and we can do things differently for the next time. So that way, you know, things can be better for the next time.
I agree.
Because we're more experienced with it.
I had a podcast, which I'm not going to mention who it was because people are going to expect it, but we had it at a different location where I normally record. And it came out good, but it was on camera. So I felt fucking weird. I was all sweaty. Like I had sweat spots everywhere. And the conversation wasn't going as well as I thought it would have been, only because it was a new setting. It was kind of hot in there and people looked a little uncomfortable. So I think at that point I had to make the decision to be like, I might not release this one, you know? And sometimes you kind of have to just make those calls, you know?
Yeah.
Not because it sucks or anything, but it's just like, okay, is this like the best creative decision, you know, in terms of what you're trying to do?
Exactly. And you have to think about like your brand and like what you're producing, right? And try to keep it consistent as humanly possible.
And as much as you can, because I mean, for sure it's hard, you know, especially, you know, I'm sure like with you, while you're doing the podcast, sometimes you're meeting these people for the first time. So it's like, you got to break the ice to try to get into this conversation. That's like, you're trying to go as deep as you can or as they will allow you to. And then again, because it's a first interaction, sometimes it's like, okay, how do we do this? You know, and yeah, dude, it's a weird, podcasting is fucking weird, but it's cool because you learn so much out of it, you know?
Yeah.
Like so many soft skills and just skills that in general kind of help you out with other stuff, you know?
Oh yeah, 100%, dude. Like to go back to learning about like doing things, like something like this, right? Mm-hmm. The last time you were on the podcast, something happened like with my software that I wasn't able to produce the video portion of the podcast, so it was strictly audio.
Just the audio, yeah.
Right, and then there was also, I think prior to that was Flo. Like him and I had a great conversation. It was going to be one of the all-time favorites of the podcast, and nothing was salvageable. I think we were talking for about an hour and 40 minutes. Nothing. Like the video was there, but nothing in the audio form was being recorded.
Dude, that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there plenty of times before, and it's like, fuck. Like the most recent thing that happened was I was using the pod track. It's like a mobile fucking podcast thing you could carry around. and the batteries died on me. Like I was like, fuck. Luckily I opened up a new pack, popped them open, and somehow it has a feature that it saves. So I only lost like maybe 20 minutes of the conversation.
Okay, that's not bad.
So I was at least able to make the half hour work, But no, it's one of those things that you kind of just learn, and even now, experienced as we are, we still come across these
of
things
course
happen all the time.
Right. Like even with the live event that we did at Hello Stranger, like I have like a page full of notes of what I can do better for the next time. Like the lighting, the visuals, like the spot we were at. Honestly, like it worked out really good. But I think more on the live producing and live editing portion to keep everything solid. Like I would like to have an off-site video podcast, kind of like this.
Yeah.
But I think just using my workflow that I use for this and just use this like blueprint and use it for the event portion.
For when you're doing live events.
Yeah, because we were gonna do the like it was all post editing, and me, I do not like post editing. I don't. That's why when we do this, everything is live editing, and we can just after we're stopping this, we can just drag it over, and I can drag it into my hosting service and YouTube.
Plus, you're doing a lot of video too.
Yeah.
So that's the part. I mean, I'm barely using just a minute of clips and stuff, and I'm just like, oh, fuck, this is annoying, I can imagine doing a whole hour, 2 hours of a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn.
Yeah, the post production is crazy. Like before Amber stepped in the picture for or the video or she's not really in the picture, but now that she's behind the boards, like it is so much easier. Like we can produce just like very quick.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. That's what I'm seeing. Your whole setup is like, dude, this is cool.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
This whole time that I've been podcasting, it's been strictly audio. Excuse me. But the burp still came out after I'm talking. But,
Amber loves those.
Yeah, they're my
we gotta have like a button that and put it on the board so every time like somebody burps, you can just
make a compilation of
ding.
No, but since I've been podcasting, I kind of just stuck with audio, and I feel like at some point maybe I'll move on to video, but I don't know. I kind of told myself like, okay, I just want to create like an auditory experience, like I don't know.
No, that
maybe
makes sense.
Maybe I'm just being a little anal about it, but I'm trying to be like everybody else is trying to do video, I guess. Maybe I can just do audio, and be the guy who's like, where's the guy? Who the fuck is that guy? That's why up until recently, you didn't really see pictures of me, because I was like, I don't want to be the guy, like, hey, that's the guy. But eventually somebody was like, maybe you should show your face a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, fine.
I feel you.
And since then, I'm not gonna lie, since they've told me that, and I've kind of put my face a little bit more out there, I've seen a lot more like engagement, or people will be like, hey, I didn't know you did the podcast. And I was like,
oh, it's actually a real person.
It's a real person. It's not a monkey. Yeah. So now, I've gotten random, especially in my area, like in the Sela area, every now and then somebody would be like, hey, you do the podcast? I'm like, oh yeah, you're the monkey guy. I was like, yeah, the primate. And they're, just small comments here and there. And, just hearing it from the areas where I'm from, city next, the city next to me or whatever, it's cool. It makes me feel like somebody's listening, right? And I'm just like, all right, cool. Just keep going.
But that's cool. I mean, you're not trying to do some, like you're trying, like what you're doing is you're doing what you think is best creatively for your project.
Yes. Yeah. I want to say yes. Because at the end of the day, I do want to just kind of tailor an experience, right?
Of course.
Like I feel like that's kind of what I brought up when I was, my little. I do my best. Oh, sorry, my bad. I do as best as possible as I can to kind of keep myself out of the spotlight, because I don't want it to be about me.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's kind of hard to kind of do that. So basically, I totally forgot what you asked right now. Jesus.
No, I just made the comment that you. Like with your project, creatively, you're making the best decisions creatively
to see what kind of works. Yeah, and again, so now that I remember my point, it's just that's why it kind of took me so long to get to the 100th episode on that, and on top of me taking the whole last year off of just anything with the podcast. Like I will upload graphics and stuff, but nothing that was like, hey, this is new content. So that whole year that I took off, obviously engagement went fucking zero. So when I started again in January, I was like, nah, I took the whole year off, but at the same time used it to kind of reshape, rebrand, refocus, and kind of, just move forward with more momentum. And again, it's only been 10 months. We're in October, and I've gotten more engagement now than I've done in the last fucking 3 years that I've been doing this slowly, But at the same time, it's because I've been more consistent. I've been trying to, again, be more specific about the experiences I'm trying to tell. Not that now everybody else's story isn't, important or anything, but, I just feel like sometimes certain things come across my path that makes me feel like, hey, I'm learning something from this person or this way. Maybe I can kind of showcase this. So it's more in a way about what's kind of influencing me at the moment and what kind of interests me,
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's basically the same concept of like what we do, because when we interview people, we it's guests that we've met, or guests that have come across their music, or in some shape or form we've come across like at an event, just like Jaime, or just basically cool ass people, dude. Cool ass people with an awesome experience, or they're doing something cool, or they're doing whatever. I don't know, jugger. What is it called? A jugular?
Jugular?
No,
Juggler?
juggler.
Like the one that juggles the balls?
Yeah, we need one. So if anybody,
you need a juggler?
if anybody knows a juggler that I can interview,
because I know a gigolo, but not if it's a juggler. I don't know about those.
But yeah, dude, that's what it's all about, bro. Just meeting people. And then the cool thing about this is you get to show people like cool ass people.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, that's kind of where I get my thing from too. Like I want to know what these people are doing. I want to pick their brains and just kind of see what I can apply from stuff that they've been doing into my life, Like, again, I feel like just podcasting itself, for me at least, has been such like a growing, like how do I say it? I've had the time to kind of learn about myself as I've done these episodes. Like, I'll listen to conversations that I did like years ago, and I'm like, sometimes I sound a little ignorant, or, just a little like misinformed, or I'm just reacting more than just kind of thinking about what I'm going to talk about. That listening to it now, I'm just like, fuck, this only happened because I've talked to these like variety of different people that I've managed to kind of tweak my perception of things as I go, not like in a bad way either, but in a way that kind of influences me to be a better person,
Right. Because you don't really change as a person unless it's with experience.
Yeah.
Like when you experience a certain conversation, or you experience a certain type of whatever in life, it changes you a little bit, just a little bit. It may or may not, but it gives you a different perspective on your life. It gives you a different perspective on arts, on music, on this or that. It's cool.
Yeah, like one of the challenges that I've had recently, like just a normal day-to-day challenge, has just been, like I mentioned earlier, like at this point I'm trying to look for not a career change, but just kind of change it up, right? Like I've just kind of been doing the same thing for a while, and I feel like sometimes with anybody, you do something so long, it kind of like becomes a little stagnant or a little stale. You kind of have to do something, And I go through those phases real quickly, but this is like the longest place or the longest job I've been in for a while. So now it's like I'm starting to feel like that nervousness, but like the excitement of just trying something new. And lately, that excitement or that feeling of anxiety has been motivating me to just fucking chase through it. Like I use it more as a catalyst to do things rather than to let it cripple me into fear. Like, oh, I can't do it.
Yeah, but you can, dude.
Yeah,
just go out and do it.
Go out and no, that's honestly as easy as people make it sound. Is just doing it. But at some point, it just becomes really hard in your head that you're like. You start making excuses for over anything, And like one big fucking example that I gave in one of my last episodes was, like I'm not very social sometimes. Social Primate is not social, surprisingly, But I got invited to something, and they were like, "Hey, come on over." But I didn't want to go because I didn't really know anybody there. So I was like, I don't feel comfortable because I'm gonna be alone. Blah blah blah. And I was showing up. There's no parking. I was making excuses like, "There's no parking. I'm just gonna quit. Like I'm just gonna go home." But I was like, nah, dude, like, what are you doing? Just go, just show up. And I did. And, through conversations that I had that night, like a couple of opportunities just kind of happened to land on my lap. And I was like, yeah, sometimes you just gotta not be fucking scared, or feel, or let things hold you back just because you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think my philosophy, especially with being uncomfortable, is leaning into that uncomfortability, letting that uncomfortable feeling like fuel you to get you through whatever you need to do.
Like, you guys are sadists.
Sadist.
Right.
Because I'm the total opposite. I've done a lot, but I let a lot of my fears play out, and it like stops me from doing things. And I don't like to feel uncomfortable. Like Gil says, like he's like, I like feeling uncomfortable. Like that's what fuels me.
Sometimes you need it.
And I know that I need it, but for me it's like, why would I want to feel uncomfortable? Like it's it's just a different perspective. Like but I wish that I had like your guys' mentality of,
but
like,
it's a practice.
It's just of course.
You have to practice it, because when you first start it, like it's not easy. Just like anything,
it's painful.
It sucks.
Yeah, for my example, not going into full details, but I went through personal things that I, in my experience, felt like, fuck, this is. I felt like at that time I felt ultimate betrayal. Like trust was like broken and shit, And I took a very, very hard look and a very like deep fucking look into myself through various substances and all that, And I came out with like, no matter what I did in life at this point, up until then, I was afraid of just doing things because I was like kind of scared, like I'll let it kind of hold me back. But at some point I was like, the feeling is the same whether I'm being scared or whether I'm going to do it anyway. It's just like the feeling that you get in your body. I don't know how to describe it. And I was like, you know what? But I'd rather chase that feeling because it completes me more. Like, so, how like the truth will set you free type of thing. And like, I felt like, okay, no matter what it is, I'm going to chase that truth, chase that feeling of like discomfort, because regardless of what it is, you're going to feel it. But are you going to let it just stop you? Or are you gonna but that's just, again, it came with experience. Like it hurt. Like I didn't really take it into account until like years later. But you mature from it, and you're kind of at that point, just fucking.
You know what the best thing about that is, dude? It's that it's temporary. Like your emotions and your feelings are temporary. They're not going to be like that.
Yes, I agree. Honestly, that's one of the biggest things that I've been talking to with. I have an 11-year-old kid, so. And right now it's kind of challenging because he's going to go into his teen years. So it's like, fuck. And now I have to really be the role model that, a father, you think of a father, you want him to be that role model, So now I'm like just a guy just getting by, trying to figure it out. And I have to be this image to this kid to be like, hey, that's my dad, And I don't know what the fuck to do, I don't know what the fuck to do, man. I'm still figuring it out. I'm changing jobs right now. He doesn't know the difficulties of that. But what I'm trying to do is like, hey, I'm trying to establish that, it's okay to be like afraid. It's okay to fucking just do these things that we feel on a day-to-day thing. And it's not just fear, but the happiness and all this other shit. But it's just a crazy trip just having to deal with this right now. So I'm getting a little like shaky because I'm just thinking about like how it's been making me feel. And it's kind of stressful. It's kind of stressful. But at the same time, it's beautiful and it feels like it's fleeting, because you see them growing up and it's like, stay small, but it's like, nah, I want you to go big and be like fucking a person of yourself. And dude, it's just emotional as fuck, man. Yeah, it's just emotional.
And honestly, like what you're saying, like kind of like you don't want to show, your son like things, right? Because what I'm trying to get at, it's like, I think with like anything in life, it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? Like for me, like my parents. My mom always says like, oh, we never wanted to show you guys anything that was, would remotely make you, worry, or anything that if when you were a kid, if we were going through anything financial, like you had no idea. If we were having problems, you had no idea, like, right? But then now as an adult, I live in this world of everything's possible. Everything's great. People don't suffer. Like, and then when I finally hit that wall of like, this is life. Like, this is the reality of life, is that you do struggle, that you do this, that your parents don't know it all, that you're an adult now and you don't have it together. Like, do you see what I'm trying to say? Like, so whether you mask that to your son or to anybody of like problems don't exist, or you show them the reality of problems do exist, it's going to be, I don't want to say the same outcome, but it's they're going to grow up, either which way. Am I making sense or
No, you're making a lot of sense. No,
Yeah.
Because it's a whole mixed bag of things too. It's like, it's just one of those things that just hit you, and it's just real life. Like,
Yeah.
it's a kid. It's just you as a person itself. I'm sure each and every one of us in this room still has certain things in the back of our mind that gives us worry, or like that once we're off there, we're like back to normal life, and we're like, I have to go do whatever I have to do tomorrow, and it's at the same time, like you have to also keep that image, right? For the sake of making things look as normal as possible for your kid while trying to protect them. And I think that's one of those big things that have just been in the back of my head, this is probably like very nerdy and stuff, but like I fucking game, bro. Like I game PlayStation 5, God of War. Real like a sidetrack on that, like that I've been playing that game, and this game talks about the relationship of the father and his son. And then they're kind of going through the same shit. And the game just doesn't like, it's a fucking badass game. I'm here promoting it. But dude, it gives you like, especially if you're going through these things, like it made me feel connected to a video game, in no other way, and like in a way that no other type of entertainment or media has made me feel. And it was just like very like the character development, like what it's trying to say, dude. It was like, it's fucking cool, man.
PlayStation
honestly,
5 is
where the games
mushrooms.
are. Dude, it's on mushrooms. Nah, legit, I teared up in a few of those scenes, just because you see like a reflection of what a real interaction between a father that's trying to show this kid how to survive, and the kid trying to be like, I can do it, like let me show you, and you're like, I'm just trying to protect you. And that feels like at some point is a cycle that we eventually as parents, if people are hearing this, can relate to, is that we're trying to bestow our safety guard onto them when they don't want to. And I feel like when I was growing up too, I was the same way. Like my parents were like, you can't do this, you can't do that, because they were trying to protect me. And I'm like, fuck, I want to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm in that position now with my kid. I'm just like, I don't want him to go down that path where he just says, fuck my dad. Like, and it's weird, man. It's fucking super weird.
But
it's
I
a weird
feel
thing,
like
dude.
it's inevitable.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen, and maybe not in the way that you're fearing, but and I think that's part of life, is letting yourself or your child or anybody kind of have to experience life. Because again, I'll go back to what I was saying, where for me, it was like, I've always had a safety net. My parents were always my safety net. Like my parents didn't let me fall hard enough for me to understand the way that life really works, So when I moved out on my own and trying to figure things out, it's like, I mean, I know that they're there. They're always going to be my safety net, but it's not the same, and it's like, so it's what I'm saying is that we sometimes want to overcompensate and coddle our kids, but you won't know until you're there, until it happens that the way that your kid is gonna, kind of go about life. But the best that you can do, and I think like for me, the best that happened to me was communication. My parents always communicated to me. They always talked to me. Nothing was a put down, like I always talk about things like, I always say like my mom never told me, don't wear this, don't wear that, don't go out like that. Why are you doing that to your hair? My dad's never had an opinion. And now I'm confident. I'm a confident person in every chapter of my life, and every skin that I've been in, every weight, or, if I've been fat or skinny, whatever, I've always been confident because I never had that confidence to not feel, and I thank them for that. I think and I think that those are some of the things that I'm not a parent myself, but I think that my parents did well. And I think that that's the best that you could do for your son, is to communicate and be there and just guide,
Yeah, no, that's one of the things I've for sure started to learn. Fuck, shit, somebody's car's getting stolen. No, that's one of the things I've had to learn the hard way, like I've been trying to be more understanding about myself. Like I feel sometimes like I'm a little too self-reflective, that I go down this rabbit hole of,
but
like,
you have to. There's a point where you have to dig deep inside your mind and your heart.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, because if you're not, I think you're robbing yourself of that. Like,
right.
of understanding who you really are, what really makes you fucking tick in every way, you know. And you're not gonna get through that unless if you're just, again, going back to like the afraid stuff. Like if you feel like you're afraid, like one of the, I guess, main things that I hear people often talk about is like, if you ever bring up psychedelics, is like, oh, I don't want to feel like I'm not in control. But it's like,
newsflash, ladies and gentlemen, you are not in control, because we're in space on a spinning fucking rock.
Yep.
Hanging out. We can explode at any minute.
Exactly.
Right? Newsflash. We're not in control.
So when I'm like, exactly when I hear that, I'm like, what? Like we all have the sense, this weird fucking sense that we, for whatever reason, have control over our lives, or just whatever thing we do. And to an extent we do, if I wanted to not come to the podcast, I'd be like, hey, Gil, I'm not going to come through.
Yeah.
Yes, I have control. But other stuff that's bigger than you, it's like, no, like you're going to, like what I think I've said this on the podcast before, is like, at least for me, for shrooms, like shrooms kind of shows you what you need to see, not what you want to see. And I feel like sometimes you go in there thinking like, oh, I want to experience this and that. It's like, no. You're going to go through what you need to go through to kind of reset your fucking mind and, just really have that shit be put in your face.
You know what always gets me, dude, is when psychedelics do come up, like LSD, or ketamine, peyote, or magic mushrooms. It's always the person saying either I want to be in control all the time, or I don't want to see what's in my mind.
Yeah.
And to me, that's just crazy, because why not? Like, why not explore that? If you know that there is something that is in your mind that is hounding you and bringing you down, psychedelics, it shows you like a pathway, right? Like you just said, a pathway on how to fix it. Like it shows you on how you can adjust that.
It's easier to ignore your problems.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Than it is to fix them.
Yeah.
So maybe knowing that whatever, if they have this experience and it shows them something, knowing that after that there's going to be work to be done, or if they don't do the work after, it's kind of like, it's added pressure, or I don't know. I mean,
that makes sense. That makes sense that, some people get put in a position where they're put in, in front of this truth, right, and they're like, oh, fuck, this is the truth. And then they don't do anything about it. You feel, I'm sure there's some sort of guilt, like, some like unfulfillment that you got from that, On the other hand, like for me, the last time I did shrooms was maybe, I've been kind of microdosing the last couple months, but like a big amount, it's maybe been like 2-3 years. And I've been thinking of doing it again, like a full eighth, but I'm scared. I'm not gonna lie, I'm scared. And like the last time I had that experience, it wasn't a bad experience, but it was very emotional. Like it was like full of tears. I'm not gonna lie, and it's just kind of what happened. But I want to do it again, but there's a hesitation that I'm like, okay, what am I gonna find this time? To me, there's kind of a thing that kind of makes me the hesitation happen is like, if I have this trip and I trip out and have the same experience that I had last time, does that mean that from the last time I did it, I made no progress with this part of myself? And then basically, do I have to start all over, or what's the new thing that's going to come out, And if I compare my mindset between now and what it was, again, 2-3 years ago, it's a big difference. I was in a worse place there mentally at that time than I am now. So now I feel like maybe the experience would be a little bit more, I don't know. It was fulfilling last time too, but maybe this time a little bit more positive. Or reinforcement of things that I've been doing.
See, but there's your fear. Your fear. You're fearing things that you don't know are gonna happen yet.
And
it's our brain making this assumption for us.
Yeah, and that's where the whole practice what you preach comes in. Is like, I'm here talking about like, don't be afraid, do what you gotta do.
And you're like, but I'm afraid.
I'm afraid. I'm afraid of what I gotta do.
But it's true. Fear is a fucking bitch. Like I like things that I fear. Like driving. Like I don't drive, right? And I have constant. I can tell you from the time I turned, able to get a license, that everyone's like, when are you gonna get your license? When are you gonna get your license? I've had like reoccurring dreams where I get in the driver's seat, and then the steering wheel's like, like when you go to Chuck E. Cheese and those games, and they're just like floppy. So it's like floppy, and I'm just like, what the hell's happening? Like, even sitting in the car, I just feel like, oh my God, this car's gonna hit me. Like it's just this constant fear. And I don't know that it's gonna happen, but I'm letting this fear, and I know, wow, I'm like you, like I know what the fuck I have to do. I know that the way that I'm thinking is wrong, but how do I get over that? And those are like, honestly, I think about it almost every day.
About what, the floppy?
Just driving in general. Like,
okay,
like maybe I should just get my license. Maybe I should just, get behind the wheel. Like maybe it won't be as bad as I think. Like, and I think about it every day, and then I just can't make myself do it.
But I think once you just start one thing that gets you towards your goal, right? Like, let's hash this out right now, because what you can do right now is start Googling the driving test.
Yeah. I probably know that shit like the back
I
of my
think
hand.
Once you start researching more and feeling confident in whatever you are doing, like just reading stuff, reading articles.
I've gotten my permit twice.
Okay.
And then I don't go do the test because I'm so scared, because I'm like, no, I'm going to fail it.
But did you practice?
So I failed the test
driving?
once. I failed the test. Yeah, I used to drive just like there in Paramount, like in the city. And
you did?
Yeah, I did.
Really?
Yeah. And I went and I took the test, and I did great. I did good, everything. And pulling into the fucking DMV, these two kids ran out in front of me. Like literally, like they were not supposed to cross. They weren't on the sidewalk. They weren't anything. They crossed, and I like braked, but pretty close. And he disqualified me.
That sucks.
And he's like, "No, you should have seen them coming." And I was like, "But I already."
He didn't warn you?
No.
You know what? I feel like they paid those kids to fucking do that.
Right.
Probably.
Here's your last fucking test.
It was like your mom or your dad.
They're like, "Don't ever let her drive."
They're like, hey, I need you guys to run out in front of this car.
Yeah.
Give you $20.
Give you $20.
I was like, you bitch.
Yeah. But I think once you start feeling confident in whatever you do, just even if you don't start, like there's a way to get started without actually doing it, right? Like, and I'll give you an example of what is on this stand-up comedy journey that I am I'm going through. I've been on this journey, I want to say 2 years, 3 years, without even going on stage, bro. I've been writing comedy for like a year and a half, but I never went on stage and practiced it.
Yeah.
But for me, I wanted to feel confident in my writing style. I wanted to feel confident in, learning the basics, reading the books that all the comedians may or may not read. That was my confidence building. Now, the part 2 is practicing what I'm writing on stage. That's part 2.
Yeah,
of this whole thing.
Going to the Bell. Where's it? Beer Thug?
Beer Thug Brewing.
Beer Thug Brewery.
Gage Avenue. Every Wednesday, Soy Funny. I'm up there checking out doing my stuff.
Cool, man. No, that props for that, because again, being in front of a crowd isn't easy. Like I mentioned, I do the podcast, but I'm not used to being in crowds of people. Like it makes me feel a little uncomfortable. But if I learned anything the last couple of years, again, going back to that event that happened to me, and just to clarify, the event is like some big thing. I just had it was a bad relationship with my baby mama. That's basically but that moment was the moment for me to be like, hey, I need to make this whole shift in who I am, and reconnect with that person who I was. And then since then, I've come across a lot of uncomfortable truths about myself, about stuff in my family, and it all happened at the same time. So like I made it a thing for myself, just to kind of be the sadist, and was like, fuck, I'm already hurt. Fucking tell me all the truths,
Right.
And then at that point, it solidified that whole, again, the idea of truth, being as honest as possible with people, in anything and everything that I do, like just doing it from the heart rather than just trying to be fucking selfish or anything about it. And if it wouldn't have been for that pain that I felt, that momentary pain that at that moment it felt like I could have just ended it all, like, you know, you wouldn't become the person you are now. And sometimes, again, it goes back to the whole thing, like, you have to go through those pains, as hurtful as they are, just to come out of the other side like a better person, you know, just clear, like, I don't know, you know, just better.
Do you know who Mark Manson is?
Mark Manson?
He's an author. He wrote The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Oh, you know what? I have that book, so yes, I do know.
Do you? Can you look up Mark Manson's quote on the uncomfortable truth?
Sure.
Please. This quote is freaking amazing. I have to memorize it because it is freaking phenomenal when I read it once she gets it going. Okay. Is that it? Yeah, I think so. Okay. One day you and everyone you love will die. And beyond a small group of people for an extremely brief period of time, little of what you say or do will ever matter. This is the uncomfortable truth of life. Isn't that crazy?
Dude, and it's fucking real. And we, you know...
It's like he's telling me, like, you matter and then you don't matter at the same fucking time.
Yeah, it's a fucking... it's a scary feeling because I think when people hear that, they feel attacked because they feel like, you know, oh, this is me, this is my experiences, I matter, you know?
Yeah.
And you do, you know, to an extent. And I've mentioned this to other people before. It's like sometimes you see people out in the street randomly and you don't give a fuck about them. Like, you really don't care. You don't know them, you know? So it's hard for you to make a connection to be like, hey, I know that person. You know? So I feel like because we have no connection to anybody else around us, it's easy for us to feel like the world revolves around us, you know? And hence fucking the quote, you know, we get lost in that and we forget that we're very mortal, and that we can go out at any time and nothing will matter, you know?
Yeah.
It will matter for a few years till the people that we know forget about us or they pass, but after that, you're just a fucking speck, you know?
Yeah, honestly, the human experience is such a small window between when you look at the human experience versus the total experience of the universe. It's like that, dude. It's a little speck. And I'm not saying just within like the few decades or centuries. I'm talking about millions of years that human beings have been on Earth.
And we care about the likes and the fucking views and all this stuff. This is why, like, sometimes I also trip out on the fact that we've become so, I don't know, addicted to just, like, even myself, man. Sometimes I'm opening my phone every 2 minutes, like, hey, let me see the new update.
Mm-hmm.
And I catch myself, I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Put your phone away. You know,
my wrist is hurting.
My wrist is hurting.
That's you want to hear something crazy, dude? I am on my phone so much, my wrist and my fingers are starting to hurt. My thumb, dude. Look at my thumb. Sometimes when I'm on my phone for hours, it's like flat. It gets imprinted and like flat. That's not normal.
Yeah, see, I'll squish my thumb out like, come back out, little skin.
Watch, or the next generation of kids are gonna have like flat thumbs.
Yeah, dude.
To scroll.
Probably.
Right? And or they're gonna be like born with like webbed hands that are just like this.
Yeah, especially one right here because of the pinky.
Yeah, or their thumb is gonna like we're gonna go through an evolution to where your thumb goes like lower, so with bigger phones, so that way you can like scroll up better.
Well, there's a whole animation, right? You guys have seen it?
Which one?
Of like the posture of like a human being.
Oh, have we seen that?
The one I showed you was
Can you look it up?
Yeah,
so we can show Eddie.
The one that we did on the podcast was the headphones one, the indentation.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Dude,
you seen that?
I thought about that when I'm fucking gaming. I'm like, I should fucking loosen it up or get some wireless headbuds.
What is it called?
After that video, dude, I'm constantly looking at the shape of my head every time after I'm done with the podcast.
Me too, man. I'm like always touching this ridge. I'm like, fucking. I think when you're a baby, I think in Spanish it's called la mollera.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking. Like, fuck, the mollera's fucking falling down. Just gets fucking sunk.
La mollera?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like the soft spot.
Oh, the soft spot
of a baby of its cranium. And I think if you do certain things to it, it'll sink in. I'm just like,
have you ever seen that, dude?
They would say that it would fall off. Se le cayó la mollera. Yeah.
But it's actually like a spot like on the top of the skull that hasn't been developed yet, right?
I think.
Well, it hasn't closed all the way. So you can't
Like
really
fused?
break it. Yeah. So you can't break it or anything. It's just, it's cartilage. So it's a little bit softer, but it's not very much. Like if you really see it like honed in, it's probably like an inch or two.
Yeah.
That just needs to continue to get.
But you can see you can see it pulsating, dude.
Oh, fuck that, man.
It is
Yeah.
wild,
Yeah, I've
bro.
seen that too.
Have you seen it? You've
Yeah,
seen it?
I've seen it on a real baby. Yeah, because if you think about it, when you come out of the womb, everything starts to like harden because you're like jelly inside the womb.
That's true.
So that's like the part that hasn't like completely. I think it takes like maybe like a month or two for it to like completely like harden.
Yeah, I think that's why at some point they were putting straps on people's heads to make them cone shaped. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh
The
yeah, I've seen that.
bandages. Yeah, that
Like
shit was
binding their hair
Yeah.
head. Jeez,
So this is the
that looks like me now.
yeah. And just kidding.
Oh
Yeah.
shit, man! That shit looks fucking creepy.
That looks weird, huh?
Yeah, so it's
at
pretty
that.
much like because we sit and we slouch, and then your neck, you're always looking down. So it's like this like posture. You're always slouching. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about fucking that, man.
Yeah.
Dude, imagine that. That's probably gonna be a couple thousands of years, but
But it will probably
it
get
will
there.
probably get there.
Yeah, but this is a model that is like continuous with the model of our phone like this, right?
Right.
But if and when it changes to being a screen that we can just see in front of our faces, that's like a hologram type of thing, then it will change, right?
Yeah, I believe that. Kind of like the Neuralink or the somebody's making some new shit. Who was it? Some fucking company. Because I know Meta recently did something with the fucking Oculus, where I think you can have like a high 4K definition face of like if you were doing a Zoom call. It's like if we were here, but in fucking the metaverse, right? And then there's what the fuck was it?
My mom's car. The other day, she was,
yeah, that's right.
We went somewhere on Monday and we took her. We took her, but she drove. And she just got a new car. And then, so I was sitting in the front and I was like, oh, put the navigation. And then she was like moving music or whatever. And I was like, put the navigation so you could see where you're going. And she's like, it's on. I could see it right here in front of me. And I'm like, in front of you where?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, she's like, so she's pointing and I'm looking and I can't see anything. And I'm sitting in the passenger seat. So she says that her dash, it projects a hologram right in front of her. So like almost on the mirror. And the hologram is showing her the map. And then it's telling her like what the next step is and everything.
Wait, what kind of car is this?
What did she get?
She got an Acura, but I don't know what model.
It's like an Acura, but it's like they got all the bells and whistles on that car.
Yeah.
I didn't know it had it, but I was like, what? And she's like, you can't see it? And I'm like, no. And I'm like trying to like move over and I couldn't see it. She even tried to take a picture of it and you can't see it in the picture, which I thought was kind of weird.
So wait, I guess I'm just confused at the tech at that. Because I mean, I'm sure your mom doesn't have implants in her eyes to fucking see this shit. What the fuck?
So I guess it kind of works. Like, have you ever seen those screen protectors that people put on their phone so that you can't see what they're looking at from the side?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that it's some kind of technology in the sense of that you can't see it from the side. It's like your peripheral vision. You can only see it from like the front.
From straight. Yeah, because I was like directly behind her and I wasn't able to see
You
it.
weren't able to see it.
Because she was like pointing at it.
That's really
She was
cool,
like keep two hands on the driving wheel, lady. But she was like pointing at it. I was like, I couldn't see anything.
Yeah, I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, it's right here, right in front of me. She's like, it's a hologram.
And by bells and whistles, Amber means full-on massage option on the seat.
On both front seats, it massages.
Wow.
Like your butt, your back, everything.
Fuck, I need to trade in my CHR, man.
Oh yeah, that's right. You have a CHR.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, but that honestly, dude, that was an upgrade for me. I went
CHR. Yeah, it was for me too.
I went from what was it, like a 2001 Toyota Matrix, like freaking just
The death trap?
dude, the death trap, bro. And when
I don't know how we drove thing.
I don't even know how I drove down the street with this thing.
For
man.
reals?
It was bad.
And he would drive all the way to Paramount to go visit me.
Yeah. And there was days where I would drive from Chino to Pomona, from Pomona to Redlands, and then Redlands to Long Beach, and then back to Chino in one day.
That car.
Holy shit! Was a car when you first got it? Was it used?
It was used.
Mm-hmm.
It was a used car. It was already beaten to death before me.
Hey, but that thing.
And I just threw it into the furnace, bro, when I started driving it, man.
Damn.
I mean, it took us where we needed to go, but I think just the constant maintenance that I was doing on it, like every month, like it helped out a lot, because I would give, even if the oil wasn't down, I would still change the oil like every month. I would change out the tires like every month. Like it was just this constant of just maintenance.
Just burning the hole in your pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't in the same situation per se, but my car was kind of giving me issues too. I had a 2012 Corolla. But then when I got the CHR, it was a big ass upgrade. So today, funny, I was walking to my car and some guy who's just probably doing his job, he put a card on my car and it says, "We buy used junk cars." And I was
I was like,
"Fuck you! My car's still newish, man."
I used to get those all the time.
Yeah, on your old car.
On the old car too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I got offended. I was like, "Dude, I'm still paying for this car."
Whoa, what is that?
I'm not gonna junk this. Well,
No,
this is the thing.
I was trying to look at like a hologram. I don't think it looked.
Is that what she has? The Acura MDX?
No. I don't know what hers is called. It's gold.
Text her and ask her.
Or
we got to say this.
No. I don't know. I'll look for it.
It's crazy, dude. But more of the story is I got to ask you about, what is it? Was it Web3?
Oh, yeah. The whole crypto stuff.
The hell is that, dude?
Damn, man.
I got to get you in. We got to talk about it for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
To have Chaco on here, because Chaco, he was talking about the Web3 and this, and I was like, dude, I have no fucking clue what you're talking about, bro.
Yeah, man, it was right now I still been doing it. I'm still like buying some crypto and stuff, but it wasn't as heavily as I was last year and the year before, where I was like fucking going deep, man.
How's it now? What's the trading specs like now?
Right now it's pretty bad. I think if
it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, because everybody who basically invested during the whole pandemic, during the whole
they're pulling out
and stuff. Well, everybody pulled out last year.
Oh.
So more than likely anybody who invested in the last year or two, they're probably in the red. They're like bleeding still, you know? If you invest now, you're probably a little better off, but yeah, I'm in red, bro.
What would be like the best case scenario for people to start making money off of crypto again?
Well, the thing is, because of the whole, this is just me talking out of my ass, but from what I can see, when the inflation stuff started happening, when the economy was kind of going back together, people stopped investing so much more into crypto because they were scared. Things were getting more expensive. There was no more like stimmies. People were getting just dropped $2,000 out of nowhere. Like, so it kind of slowed down. So when there's usually fear in the market, I think it also started when the whole Ukraine and the US stuff started going on with Russia. That's when kind of the market took a big ass dip. And since then it's been trying to recover, but it's done a very bad job. But again, because people are scared, nobody wants to invest into things right now because everything's very like, what's the word? Illiquid. So, if you're going to spend money, it's because you have the extra funds to do it. Like personally, me right now, I haven't been doing it. I still buy like, $20, $30 every week or two. But small increments, nothing where I'm like dropping money. Because before, dude, I was dropping some good money. Like basically, example, there was this project by Ozzy Osbourne. It's called Crypto Bats. And I think to buy a token, if you got a whitelist, which means that they gave you the permission to purchase, pre-sale. You'll purchase it maybe like $300, and once I purchased it, I sold it for like fucking 3,000.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was a big, fucking what is 10? No, that's like 100 times, right?
So you bought it for 300, and then you sold it for
3,000. Yeah.
Whoa.
So 10 times 10, I guess, right? That's what it is. So yeah, 3,000, and that was like my first taste to the whole crypto NFT world, and I was like, hell yeah. And then from there, it was just small investments. Like I'll drop $500, make another 2Gs, so on and so forth. And it was good up until the point where, again, the market crashed, where for people who understand like what Ethereum was at that time, like the value was maybe 4,000 for one token. Now it's only 1,500. So like if you purchase again at 4,000 the token, then your token now is worth 1,500. So you fucking sick lost money. And that, again, that happened to a lot of people right now. So the people in the game that are still there now, they're playing the long game. And apparently there's going to be like this new thing happening, or this recurring thing that happens every 4 years with Bitcoin. It's called what is it called? Like the halvening or something. It means like the supply gets cut into half like every couple 4 years. So it makes the demand higher.
And who makes all these changes in that? That's weird, right?
It's in an algorithm already. It's already programmed into this blockchain. Like the code says like, hey, every 4 years, we're going to, the supply divided times whatever users, blah, blah, blah. Uh-huh. So it's like a giant code, dude. It's like, you know how you click F12 sometimes on your website to inspect or source? It's like coding basically like that, but it's called a smart contract, where it says like all these variables, you know, like blah, 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 if and so X, da, 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 da. So it's like coding that basically just has already been implemented. So as time happens, or the numbers on the coin or the supply changes, then these equations go into effect.
So crypto or Web3 is crypto, or explain that.
Yeah. So I guess if you
can we
want
look
to
that up? Look up Web3.
Yeah, because Web3 is more okay. So Web3 is more like a movement.
So there's nothing that they're not.
So I guess the easy way to see, like Web 1 was back in the 90s. Well, you've got mail. Like you can respond, or you can just interact with the internet through seeing it. Yeah, so Web 3 is the third generation of the internet. So Web 1 was basically, again, you've got mail. You could only read only stuff. You couldn't interact with the stuff. Like, you know, people go on, you know, to find newspapers. They can just read. They can't write and interact. Web 2 was social media stuff, when we can finally interact with other people, you know, like MySpace days till like now.
We're able to manipulate it in some way.
Exactly. Now we can watch videos, stream, game, like all this stuff. That's Web 2. And Web 3 will be taking control back from Web 2. Because Web 2 right now, internet is, you know, ads, Google, like
algorithms.
Yeah. Fucking big tech companies. Right? Yeah. You know, everything is controlled by the people who fucking sell our data. Web 3 will be more like, hey, let me control my data, and I'll let you I decide who I allow to have access to my data. So it's more private. It's supposed to be more anonymous, kind of like what the dark web was a few years ago. Like you want to fucking, you know, shop online for some weird shit, you have to have like a fucking VPN, a Tor browser, like all this other shit just to get around this. Nowadays, you can have like a blockchain wallet, like a crypto wallet, and just use that as your form of identity, you know? But yeah, that's what Web3 is. So Web3 is just basically the name they've given to this new version of the internet that they want to adapt. And blockchain is just the means of trying to decentralize what the internet we know is now. Yeah. Take the control back.
So Web3 hasn't technically happened. It's in the works?
It's in the works, yeah. Because right now, if you go to Starbucks, for example. Starbucks is one of those companies that jumped into the Web3 stuff like 2-3 years ago, and they're still kind of doing it. If you have a membership for like Starbucks, I think like rewards right now in the app, you can elect after you know, buy fucking coffee or shit, you get points, which you can use to redeem later on after you reach their fucking quota.
Because you add money, right? You add money on the...
Yeah, you add money, you get the stars and shit.
Yeah.
So with Web3 on their version, you collect stamps. Like you purchase stamps like $50, $200. If you have like the highest fucking stamp, then you get like all these fucking, you know, benefits and all that. So they're trying to kind of make people get adapted into Web3 through their ecosystem already that they've established physically, because they know, I think everybody knows that Web3 is a future, but people are trying to like push back on it because, how do I say it? Not everybody's ready for like a digital currency thing yet. You know, everybody's still like, I want to keep my cash and stuff, which is cool. You know, that's just one of the things that we kind of have to keep to feel like we have valuable stuff, you know, in our fucking hands.
Right.
But it's inevitable that it's moving to digital currency, you know? And so that's why people are that are collecting coins now, like they were collecting back in fucking 2007 with Bitcoin, if you would have had Bitcoin back then and you have it now, like, dude, you'll be like rich as fuck. Like, you know, I remember Domino's early on, 2007, they were accepting Bitcoin for payment.
Really?
So whoever
2007?
2007. So whoever bought Bitcoin then, which is worth maybe $100, $200, right? They fucking purchase, let's just say even 10 Bitcoin, right? That's $2,000 or something, 20,000, whatever that number is. Now each one Bitcoin is worth like $35,000. So you would have been loaded. So people were just throwing this money around like nothing before, you know. So people who held on to it, who had that conviction, they made it in the crypto world. Dude.
My dad always, he tells us this story, and I think because he has this like
regret,
like huge regret. So he was saying that he goes to this I can't think of the name of it, right? But my dad likes like barbecue. So he's been going to this barbecue place, like hole in the wall, you know, little family place, out in like somewhere in LA, right? So he says years ago, he said he was at the it's called JR's. It's called JR's barbecue. So he says that he goes, right, and he's like having lunch there, and he's just sitting there, and he always sees the owner, says hi, whatever. So he says that the owner comes to him, right? My dad's having lunch, and he's like, "Hey, can I talk to you about something?" And my dad's like, "Yeah, sure. What's up?" And he was like, "Hey, so my nephew's like getting into this thing called, you know, like Bitcoin, and it's like this and that." So he has this whole conversation with my dad about what it is and all that. And he's like, "You know what? I just invested. I don't remember how much he invested, but he invested a lot, though, señor." Mm-hmm. And the man was like, "Look, I want to tell you because you're, you know, like another person of color. And I know that like we're not the market, right? Like we're not the people that they're looking to get or you know, we're kind of skeptical. We don't know about this, but I really believe in what my nephew's saying. And I just want to let you know so that you can, you know, if you know, you make the choice to buy some, like I'm telling you now, like buy some because it's going to be something big." So my dad was like, "Oh, okay, thanks." So my dad leaves and he's just like, "Ay, viejo loco," like, you know, like yeah. What is he saying? What does he know? Like, because my dad didn't know anything about it. And then my dad's like, "No, how am I going to risk my money not knowing that I'm going to get this return? Mm-hmm. And I don't even know this man, like, you know, enough for him to tell me. Like, I wonder what the catch is." Like, my dad thought it was like this, like, pyramid scheme. Yeah. Like, why is this man telling me to invest money and make thousands of dollars? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, no person off the street tells you that, right? Or no stranger, because ultimately my dad had never spoken to the man. He just knew that he was the owner of the place he liked to go to. Well, fast forward, and my dad was like, "I'm an idiot." Like, he's like, I should have listened to him. He's like, "But I let my fear, my doubts, and everything like not let me buy any." And I'm just like, dang.
Which is funny because in the crypto community, there's acronyms that they use to kind of describe stuff, and one of them is called FUD, which is fear, uncertainty, and despair, or something like that. And it happens because one thing with the trading stuff that I learned was just figuring out what your risk management or your risk management is. I couldn't even say management right now. But you have to figure out what that is, because again, like you kind of mentioned, like that we're not the target audience for that, you know, for the crypto stuff. If you're able to get in it, that's because you have extra money to spend and you don't have to worry about anything else. But going back to the whole stimmy stuff, like one of the, you know, pros on that was that people had extra money to just fucking throw around for whatever reason.
I bought stuff with my stimulus.
Yeah, you know. Yeah. I mean, again, people use it one way to kind of, you know, push themselves to the next level in their creative way, or spend it on whatever they want it. In this case, for myself, it was the whole crypto stuff. And it also started with me thinking it was a scam. It was until some kid was like, or some guy that I knew, he was like, "Dude, I just dropped like 5,000. No, what did he say? I dropped like $2,000 or something with him and his friend." I was like, "Cool, man. Well, good luck with your money." He comes back a week later and he's like, "Dude, I sold it." And I was like, "How much you sell it for?" He goes, $10,000. I was like,
damn.
Okay, teach me the fucking game, man.
Yeah.
And it took that person near me to say, like, "Dude, this happened." And that's when I was like, "Oh shit, I want to get in it." Again, I did. Played my game, made money, lost money. Like, but I learned a valuable skill, and it was being comfortable with investing in yourself, like just taking the risk. Like sometimes it feels like, fuck, I don't want to spend these $300 because I need them or something. It's like, dude, in reality, okay, let me spend these $300 and see what value I can come out of it. In this case, it was NFT flipping for a while, you know, and that made my stuff valuable for a second. And then I'll use those wins to invest on other stuff, right? Like I'll make my money back. Now I can use those $300 to spend on equipment that I needed or whatever it was, invest in a new laptop, and I'll still have money to fucking keep playing around with, you know? So it was just a game of learning when to fucking pull out and all that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
You just need to know, again, how comfortable you are. And again, very psychological, because there was times where I was, like I mentioned with the Ozzy Osbourne project, I sold it for $3,000. An hour later, like it was going for $6,000. So I sold too soon. And psychologically, that still fucks with you, because you're like, fuck, if I would have held it for 1 hour, I would have made $3,000 more. But you still walked away with money. And that's, you know, it's very psychological, very stressful, but very exhilarating too, you know? So right now with the people jumping into crypto, if you need some buying options, I will say either Bitcoin for sure or Ethereum, because those are like the two top chains. There's other stuff coming up that I'm not too familiar with, but you know, it's also a game about trying to figure out what the coin does. In this case with Web3, like what is it gonna bring to the table? Like, one of the reasons Bitcoin blew up was because, I mean, first of all, it was used for black market stuff early on, and it was very hard to get. Like I mentioned, you had to have like a Tor browser, a VPN. Like you had to go through all these loops just to get a wallet to get access to purchase Bitcoin. So people who did it back in 2007, who went through the whole headache of just fucking trying to figure out how to get this coin, they're the ones who came out with the money. People who jumped in on the bandwagon once they're like, hey, it's going up. Those are the people who got fucked last year or 2 years ago. So they got discouraged from coming back into the game. So everybody has like this sour taste right now. They're like, hey, I got into crypto. Fuck that. It made me broke. Like, I'm not touching it again. But the people who are still there, they're still building that foundation. Kind of, you know, early on MySpace, it was everybody was fucking around with HTML. Only some people stuck around to learn it and became something out of that. And other people were just like, I'm just going to leave my profile with fucking my top 3, you know, whatever it was. But again, it's just figuring out when to kind of catch these trends in a sense. And I don't know, it's really about being ahead of the game. It's kind of like the whole GameStop stuff with the stocks, which I don't know if you heard of, but also like in 2020, a couple of people decided to like fucking get together to buy AMC stock, which and GameStop stock.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And it was dirt cheap, dude. It was like $12.
Yeah, something crazy like
People
that, right?
I bought some.
Yeah, everybody got together and was like, let's buy some. Let's just buy all the fucking as much stock as we can. And they drove up the price to like $400 per stock. And I was like, what? And that's when like kind of like the whole crypto started coming out, like the Bored Apes, like all these fucking high profile NFT projects. Again, people had money to throw around. People who were there early on before that, while NFTs were kind of still coming up, which I think was like 2019, the market blew up like in late 2020. So anybody who was in that game already made the money. Everybody jumping in at the time still made money, but it was just the crumbs of whatever everybody else was getting. And if you didn't pull out, then you got.
I took my money out.
Good.
I took what I had. I probably lost maybe $400 from what I had put in, but I took out what I.
Didn't they stop people from purchasing AMC and GameStop?
Yeah, Robinhood. Robinhood was one of the companies that when they started their thing, they were like looked. How do I say it? They were considered one of like the fucking stock apps that were great for regular people, just because anybody can join, anybody can learn how to invest.
Yeah.
So they were like, yeah, Robinhood. It's a fucking name that speaks like, Robinhood. So point is,
stealing from the rich, giving to the poor.
Exactly. So when this AMC shit happened, they went like, hey, we're gonna stop the withdrawals because we need to wait for these things. Because for people who don't know, when you purchase stocks, you purchase your, whatever pricing is at the moment. It locks in. Few fucking days later, it becomes available as in your portfolio. And if you want to sell, you got to wait 2 to 3 business days, plus like 2 to 3 business days more if you want to withdraw. So it's like this fucking whole transaction that you have to wait for, like a whole week for your bank to say yes and the stock company to say yes. Crypto doesn't do that. Crypto is like, here's your money, like in seconds.
Oh.
That's why blockchain is becoming really big in terms of like Western Union. Western Union, you send money to people out There's like remittance fees, like you pay $10 to fucking send, $10 for them to collect, and all these extra charges that kind of just add up. Blockchain is like, hey, just pay what it takes to fucking send the money, which is like, they're called gas fees. They can be like $5 if you're just transferring money, but within seconds you can send money from here to fucking Australia, like with no third party in between you. It's just, person to person. As in right now, the fucking currency world that we live in is like, hey, I'm gonna give the bank my money for the bank to do your job, kind of like Zelle. Zelle takes the money, then they disperse it. Blockchain is like, there's no middleman. Like, we don't need to know who the fuck you're dealing with.
I wonder what would happen if everybody right now would take out all their money from the bank, whatever they had, right? Their life savings, their 401k, and put it into cryptocurrency.
I mean, if that
everybody,
was the case,
everybody in the country or everybody in the world, what would happen?
You wouldn't be able to get your money.
They'll probably lock it down.
Because the way that banks work, it's like you put in your money, but your money that you put in, like let's say today you put in $1,000,
they loan it out to
that
somebody
goes
else.
to somebody else, and that goes to somebody else. So ultimately, the bank doesn't really have everyone's
just
money.
IOUs.
Yeah, they're IOUs.
Because that's typically what happened during the Great Depression, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When the stock crashed, everybody ran to the banks to take out their cash, but it was all gone.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. That's one of the trippy things that people don't really think about. You look at your account, it's just like, oh, I have this much amount of money in my account. It's like, no, that money's not really there until the bank's like, oh, hey, he wants his money. Like, let's take it out from Gil's account and send it over to Eddie. That's just a very fucking small concept of it. But ideally, that's what they're trying to manage around, And crypto isn't like that. Like, the money's just already there. Like, for example, like with the whole Ukrainian stuff, like, I don't know, whatever people's perception of that is, but what they were doing for blockchain was that people were donating money to Ukraine directly into like crypto wallets over there, rather than having to go through these companies that were putting holds on payments or banks when people couldn't withdraw money. So as long as you couldn't withdraw money, you're fucked. But if you have your crypto wallet and people who are accepting crypto, then it doesn't matter what the banking systems are doing.
But who keeps the physical money?
The physical money,
like okay, let's say I buy crypto, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna buy $100. They're gonna pull out $100 from my bank account, right?
Uh-huh.
So where does that quote physical money go? Or it's not?
No, because it's just a number, right? It's just a number being transferred, or it's just digits being transferred from the bank to
I mean it has to, because it's like a transfer, like a wire.
Yeah, but there's no real physical
like
money
I'm not
in the
taking
bank.
money to a crypto person.
Right.
But my money is still getting pulled out and then invested, like given to somebody.
Yeah, so for example, like one of the companies, okay, so two examples real quick. So there's a app called Coinbase, which is like one of the, I guess, either the first or the second biggest applications right now on iPhone or on the internet for crypto, where you can go and buy fucking coins and all this shit. The other one was called FTX, which a few months ago, the main guy got arrested. Like, everything fell apart because this guy was apparently saying that his business was worth all this portfolio, like this fucking enormous amount of money. In reality, he had no funds. Like, he was just like a bank, like saying, hey, here's my portfolio. My portfolio says I'm valued at $15 billion. In reality, this guy had no liquidity under him. Like, he was just basically talking out of his ass. But this is one of the biggest crypto chains that was like promoting the fucking shit out of like blockchain. Like, they were getting sponsors from like celebrities and all this stuff. Like, hey, go to FTX. When it's, shit hit the fan, they collapse. Like, now they're trying to recuperate from that. That's one of those other things that caused the market to crash, because people saw that this company that's supposed to be reliable for crypto and that's supposed to stand for decentralization of banking systems ended up being corrupted by this individual and a group of people. So people were like, fuck this, we're going to pull out.
But how real was that story? You don't think that could have been like some kind of
like fabrication? I mean,
fabrication to reel people away from the popularization of cryptocurrency?
That can totally be it, because during the whole time...
Sorry, my tinfoil hat.
No, I
Thing
totally
just
believe
jumped in.
I have
right
mine
now.
under my hat right now.
Yeah.
But no, it can definitely be because again, when you look at the events that happened, we had like the whole inflation stuff. Right, Biden came in, the inflation stuff was happening, the Ukraine stuff started happening, interest rates started going up, and then they didn't stop. So again, people were fearful of fucking having just money laying around anywhere. They were pulling everything out, and they did have like a sort of task force that they were looking into crypto to see if they can make a U.S. version of a digital dollar. So the U.S. is kind of, from my understanding, is working on a digital dollar of some sort to obviously they know that the transition is happening. So they want to move from fucking physical money into digital, right? Kind of like how they moved from physical gold to just paper money. Now they want to remove the paper money and just say, hey, just digits on your phone. You know, it's in their sense, it's easier to track where this money is going, right? Rather than fucking having physical money where it's kind of lost its trace. But yeah, they had this stuff going on. So low key, it sounds like the Biden administration came in and was like, attack fucking crypto, you know, because people were making money, dude. It was just breaking the lines of what it meant to work. And again, that's one of the things that I was thinking, like, dude, if I bought this and an hour later I sold it for 3,000, when it would have taken me like 80 plus hours to work, like, why work if I can just fucking flip?
Right. Yeah. The Biden administration was like, wait, hold on. Poor people are making money. This has got to stop.
Yeah.
This has got to stop.
That's for sure a theory that we can all kind of low key kind of agree on too, you know, because it did break a lot of those boundaries. People from, dude, I'm telling you, so for crypto, you have to be on Discord, you know, fucking chatting it up, talking to people. You come across people from all over the world. So think about if $3,000 to me seems like a decent amount of money, $3,000 to somebody in India it's like, how many fucking rupees is that? You know, like fucking you're rich, you know? So again, all these people from different countries were finding financial freedom through crypto. So of course the government's going to come in and start fucking limiting stuff, you know? Like, they don't want that. They don't want your dependency to move away from the US dollar. And that's what they can't control. So when you can't control it, you got to fucking throw a wrench into the fucking machine, you know? And that sounds kind of like what was happening with this whole stuff. So who knows what's going to happen in the next couple of years. But again, going back to that whole Bitcoin shit happening, it's supposed to happen next year. So people who've been loading up the last couple of years should see crypto kind of blow up and get maybe more established. I think one of those countries, some country fucking already made it their national currency.
El Salvador.
Yeah, there you go. El Salvador made it a fucking national currency.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, that's cool. I mean, they found a way to remove themselves again from being dependent on a foreign dollar, you know, because their currency was shit. So now they can at least have something stable that just kind of is not in the control of a federal power, you know?
Yeah, it's typically controlled by the users, right? Of the currency.
But I just think like it sounds cool. It sounds right, like utopian. But we don't have enough years of data and experience to say that it's gonna work, right?
For El Salvador?
I mean, like heading towards the crypto era. Like let's say like El Salvador, that now they're using it, right? And it's like their national thing. Like I'm just saying in general, like crypto in itself, like how do we know that it's gonna work? Or how do we know that it's gonna, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I'm just saying like this whole like, you know, because I don't carry cash. I know that I don't carry cash and I don't care for cash, but it does kind of, it's one of those things that you're like, oh, well, my money, like it's just like floating. Like it's not real, you know? Like, so what I'm saying is like, we don't have enough data to know that crypto or putting your money in the cloud or whatever it's doing is effective, or that there isn't like a bad, you know, do you see what I'm trying to say or no? Like,
yeah, no, I get it. And I guess it's not the greatest example, but it'll be kind of similar going back to like Web 1. Like at that time, it felt like the Wild West. Like you could talk to people on the internet. Like you can talk, you know, just, it seemed foreign. Like everybody was like, oh, let's fucking finally get into it. Nobody really cared for it until, again, I, at least for me and us, I mean, knowing that we lived through this whole fucking social media boom, it wasn't until like maybe 2002, 2004 and beyond that the internet really evolved.
Yeah.
Where it was more than like, it was more than just fucking getting emails and stuff. It was like, oh, I can talk to people, I can add friends, I can do this. And we lived through that. And that was only like a little less than 20 years ago. So it took maybe 15, 20 years just to get adopted into thinking like, hey, this is going to be part of the mainstream stuff. So with the crypto right now, they consider it the Wild West because nobody's really into it. If people think back, 2007, that was Wild West. Right now, it's kind of modernizing. You guys, if you really want to, can easily get a crypto wallet. You didn't have to go through the fucking obstacles like, the people that you guys know a few years ago, like that owner. And then more than likely in the next decade, we're going to see adoption with bigger companies. Because I'm telling you, Starbucks was doing it, or they're still doing it. PayPal started doing it. Like they started accepting Bitcoin or selling coins through their application. Visa and MasterCard started figuring out how to apply blockchain into their technologies. So it's big companies that are
gas station.
There's gas stations with blockchain.
Yeah.
I mean, where
Really?
Crypto fucking ATMs.
And it says, it's
What?
For
a Bitcoin ATM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go in there, fucking plug in your wallet and then your crypto wallet, and you can just withdraw money into cash.
I think the one on the corner of my parents' house.
Really?
The one across from the Jack in the Box.
So I mean,
I like that one.
It's happening. The adoption is happening with these companies. They're just working on it in the bottom because they know. The only thing that I would see is that the only reason they're investing into this stuff is because they see that if they don't invest into it now,
yeah,
they're gonna get left behind.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there's somebody up at top in their corporation that is telling them, we got to fucking do this now.
Yeah.
And then what if one day they're like, sorry, it's just me being skeptical.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of all these possible things. Like,
You're a skeptical believer.
I'm a skeptical believer, like Javier Servin. Like, what if, you're like, I'm gonna take all my money out of the fucking bank and I'm gonna put it all into crypto and I'm just gonna, leave it in there, whatever. Like, what's stopping someone from just being like, I guess it's the same thing with the bank, right? But the bank, I guess, maybe is held a little bit more accountable.
Yes.
But what if something's like, oh, sorry, the fucking cloud crashed.
So
you have no more money. Like, how is that backed up? And I have one more question.
They Y2J'd the...
No, yeah.
Y2K'd.
And how do you, like, are they... I'm bombarding with questions, sorry, but I'm just like, my brain right now, like... But, like, okay, like money laundering, right? Like, you can launder bills.
Yeah.
Is there anything that's, like,
similar
laundering?
to that?
Yeah,
Can you launder a Bitcoin?
You can. Yeah,
like
you
fraud
can.
or something?
Yeah, so, to answer the first question, which was the... asking about how your money is safe, basically.
Yeah.
So going back to like the blockchain, right? So the blockchain, there can be many blockchains, right? So, but the blockchain, what it is basically a ledger, like like those old school books in the Wild West, like, hey, Gil paid me $20. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a digital version of that. So now it's a blockchain. So the blockchain works on smart contracts. So anybody can create a contract, like an agreement, right? That says, hey, this person gave this person this money. So we have like a record of who this wallet belongs to. It doesn't say your name. It's like an encrypted wallet, but it's your wallet. So if something happens in this transaction, you can easily say like, hey, well, this happened in this time. There's a timestamp. There's everything, kind of like a transaction on your bank. So the only thing, though, is that if something happens, if you lose your money here, because there's no regulation in there yet, you're kind of fucked. You know, so if somebody hacks your wallet, if somebody finds your it's called a seed phrase, and they use it, they can take your money and nobody can do anything about it. Like I've seen people, apparently, I don't know if this is true, but people are like, dude, I lost my Bored Ape and it was like worth, 30 G's or something. I was like, dude, who knows how that happened? But they lost it. There's no way of getting it back. The person who stole it keeps it. You see it in their wallet and you can't bring it back because there's no regulation. Damn. So that's the only part where banks have that safety, where they have like fucking the federal government backing them up, where it says, hey, if we fuck up, then we can kind of have the government come in and regulate us, So there's that protection for the consumer. Right now, blockchain doesn't have that. So that is an iffy part if you were to lose your shit. As long as you don't lose your shit, your money's safe because nobody has access to that wallet outside of yourself. So no matter what happens, even if people just get 2 words, it's like a 12-word phrase that you have to memorize or write down, keep it safe. As long as nobody has that word, your money is safe no matter what. Like nobody can touch it. At that point, you can just you have to be careful what you connect with and who you kind of like interact with in the digital world to make sure you don't get hacked. It's kind of like you don't want to get hacked on Facebook or Instagram. You don't want to get hacked on your blockchain. There's no getting that back. And then the second question, I forgot, what was that?
The second one was like fraud. Like, is there fake bitcoins or like people replicating stuff or
laundering
like
bitcoins?
Oh, laundering. So yes and no. So if let's say somebody
well,
takes your money-
laundering's different, right?
Yeah, I'm saying like faking like Bitcoin.
Like somebody
Oh,
faking
okay.
a $100 bill.
No, you wouldn't be able to do that because each smart contract is individual. So as long as you have the correct address of that contract, then that's the Bitcoin. I mean, sure, people can be like Bitcoin 2, but I mean, actually, yeah, take that back. You can make multiple versions.
Yeah, can you
of
like
this.
fake out a contract and say,
You can. You definitely can. And it's only inexperienced people who would probably fall into that, which I think is the majority of the population right now. Because I think there was these numbers, I think only like 10% of the whole population knows about Web3 right now. So it's fucking very small. And again, you can easily get fucking tricked into just giving out your seed phrase and your money. But that's what the hard part is. I honestly don't have a clear answer for that because I've seen people with bad intentions get away with stealing money from people when they're not careful. But I've also seen like the security that these technologies can have if we continue to apply them for future use and where they can go to the point where we can feel completely safe with these fucking crypto, you know? It's weird, man.
Dang, it's crazy.
this is like Matrix stuff, bro?
Yeah, it's
You have
it's
no
weird,
idea.
dude.
It's still weird. I spent countless hours talking to you about it. I'm still fucking.
Hey, Gil, would you put I follow this. Wait, let me back up. I've been trying to get this thing out and I forgot. So when we were talking about like 2020, 2021, when things were going up, right, in crypto, do you remember the baker girl that I told you that her and her boyfriend made all this fucking money and they bought a Tesla?
Yeah.
Do you remember? So one day we're back in business, right? After like it's like 2021. And you're talking about like a 19-year-old. I think she wasn't even 20 yet. And she drove a Tesla to work, to the shop. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, I sign your checks. Like, I know how much money you fucking make. Like, there's no way you can afford a Tesla, you know? And I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's her parents or something. So then I went and I was like, hey, is that your Tesla? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, wow, it's really nice. And she's like, yes, I know. She's like, oh my God. She goes, my boyfriend and I invested everything that we had saved into crypto.
Dude.
And she's like, and we hit it big. She said, we hit it big. She's like, and he pulled it out like right away. And she
Nice.
says like, they pulled it out one day and by the next day it had dropped.
Dude,
Like
that's
not a
good.
lot, but it had dropped. So they were able to pull out all that money, and it wasn't a lot that they invested, but they got back like way more than they invested. And these fools went and they bought a Tesla cash. 19-year-olds. That's what they went and they bought.
I'm not Tesla. Oh my God. So many things it could have done. But
I know. But I mean, they're 19 years old,
Yeah.
you know, like the Tesla was still like, and I'm just like, fuck. Yeah, it was that was the craziest thing that I seen with like people. Because I knew a lot of people that were investing and all that, and that's why I did it too. But I had never, like, I mean, I made, you know, the most, maybe $500. And I was like, oh my God. I thought I was like, you know, on a roll. But now to see this 19-year-old come in and she had a freaking Tesla, I was like, oh man,
dude,
I didn't make shit.
That's what I'm telling you. That's what convinced me when I heard that guy. He's like, yeah, I made 10 G's. I was like, what the fuck? Like, if you can make the money, I can make that money. Come on.
Right.
But it's a if you're trying to make money now, it's really, I'll say, about luck and again the conviction stuff. Because right now nobody's really buying. Like the market is dry. Like I keep daily updates and it says like the fear index is fucking in the red, like very high and shit. So people don't want to invest into it right now. And again, it's not gonna. It's
Yeah,
good.
I looked at my Robinhood like maybe about a week ago, and it's like all the crypto stuff is like going down.
Yeah, it's going down.
Yeah,
But like they say, you know, when it's going down, it's when you buy the fear.
that's when you buy
yeah.
because it's going down.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Now I've had a chance or times where I thought it was the bottom, and I bought thinking that was the bottom. It just kept dropping. So again, it's just like what I do is it's called dollar cost averaging. So it's not, if you have $50, it's not drop to $50 that one day. Spread it out in a week. $2, $2. So you can kind of catch the dips, and then your whatever your dollar's worth is kind of balances out, so that you don't take. So your hit is a little bit more balanced out, right? Instead of just spending the whole 50 and then it fucking drops to 25. It's like, fuck, I lost half of it. So it's a weird little game, but it's cool because, again, I learned risk management from it, how to kind of like just take chances. Like, I don't know, crypto podcasting and just design, dude, has been important in just developing myself as a person. And yeah, man, it's been a weird last 2 years for this whole thing. I'm still, the fucking monkey you see right there, that's supposed to be an NFT project. They got started as a NFT project. So it's going to evolve into something else, maybe like a little cartoon and stuff, but eventually.
It's really good.
I'm waiting for it, dude. I'm waiting for the cartoon, bro.
Yeah, man. I need to update that fucking cartoon. It's been since July or something. July 10th. Holy fuck. It's already 3 months. So I got to come up with a new one.
It's really good.
But he's supposed to be on a journey, podcast journey. He likes to get high too, a little bong at the side. But
he's chilling right there.
Yeah, dude. He's supposed to be eventually an NFT. So I'm trying to just build it in the background. So eventually, if somebody does jump on it, hopefully in the next couple of years, crypto bounces back up and everybody can make a little money.
Well, bro, it's always a good time to talk to you and catch up with you. And till the next time, brother.
Thank you, Gil.
Thanks, Eddie.
Fucking
Appreciate
pleasure,
it, man. Thanks for being here. Tell everybody where we can find you and what you got coming up.
You can find me on Instagram, Social Primates. It's the one with the little happy monkey with the glasses. Check it out. We got new episodes coming out hopefully every week, if anything. And just follow the page, man. You get all the updates there. Thank you, guys.
All the links to Eddie's stuff and Social Primates are going to be down in the show descriptions, whether you're listening to the podcast or watching the podcast. Go down to the links. Everything's going to be clickable. So take a minute out of your day. Check out. This was a great conversation. This was an awesome podcast. Go down to the link and follow Eddie on this podcast journey and this journey we just call life.
Hell yeah.
Right? But other than that, do we have anything? Just want to reiterate October 26th, our open mic in Paramount, California. What else?
Go listen to La Rosa Nora's new song, right? And then 3LH tomorrow has a show going on, or today, right? Because if you're listening on Friday, it's today. And yeah.
Also, I forgot to say this at the beginning, but I did 2 podcasts the past couple of weeks. Copy and Still podcast on YouTube. Hear me nerd out on all the podcast gear and stuff. Also, I was on a podcast called I'm Being Seriously. The title of the podcast episode is called Clash of the Pods, The Roast of the MindBuzz. So it was a comedy driven, but I also gave some insights on the MindBuzz journey, my journey in comedy, and just me, right? Mm-hmm. But check those 2 out. I have another one coming out with Movies on Weed next week, so watch the page for when that airs. So boom, that's how you do it.
The MindBuzz.
Peace and love.
Bye.
I'm gonna buy some NFT right now.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
No, crypto, not
Okay,
NFTs.
crypto. My bad.
Bye.